Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about how you can convert your callback functions to async await functions. To do this, I am using a very simple example. We have list of users here. Let's assume that this list is coming from a backend API and we are using a callback function to get the data, right? First, I'll write that function here. Get users. This function I'll pass a callback, right? And to simulate the API call, I'll just use this set timeout method. What it does is, after 1000 milliseconds, it will return this callback with the user list, right? Now, let's assume that we need to print this data, right? So I'm writing another function, print users, and this function is getting the users and can log it this way, right? Now I'll call the get users function, and print users function will be passed as a callback, right? Let's try to run this. Right. Now you can see that the data is getting printed out, and this is the way that we can use callback functions to get data asynchronously. Next, what we can do is we can convert this function into a promise, and let's see how we can do the same thing using a promise, right? To do that, what I'll do is I will remove this from here and I'll return a promise from this function. As you know, promises can be resolved and also promises can be rejected, right? And I will move this code inside the promise. And we can resolve the function, the promise with the users. And also I will try to simulate a server error as well here. Server error happened. This is just a boolean. I'll just keep it false for now. And if there's any error that's happening in the server, this promise will be rejected, right? And it will say server error. Okay. This is the setup now. Let's remove this code as well. I'll write another function to print the users. Here, you can call get users, and as you know, you have to write then to retrieve the data. So all the data that you are passing to this resolve function will be taken out here, right? And if you are having any errors, right, if you reject the promise, that information will be coming to the catch section, right? Normally when you're handling errors, you can do this. I'm just logging that error. Right. Now let's try to run this code. Let's try to call this function and run the code. Right. Now I'll clear the console and node app.js. Right. You can see that the data is getting printed out. Right. If let's say there's a server error is happening, in that case you can, let's say I'll make this true, and this, in that case what will happen is it will come to this catch area and it will log the error, right? So that's how you can do the same thing with a promise. Now let's try to do this, the same thing with an async function, right? To do that, what I'll do is I'll just clear this section, and I can convert this function to a async function. What you have to do is you just have to write this async statement here. Then for now I'll turn this to false, and now we are trying to get the data, right? Users. To do that, I'll call this getUsers function. What you have to remember here is that you have to write await here. In that case, this promise will get resolved and the data will be passed to users variable, right? And you can log that data like this. Now if I run this code, you can see that the data is getting printed out, right? Now let's say there's an error, right? If I run the code now, it will give me an exception. It says that I am not handling the error, right? To do that, what you can do is, like you are normally doing in most of the programming languages, you can just use a try catch in the async function, right? So you can move this code like this to the try section, and you can handle the error inside the catch section. I'm just logging the error, right? Now if I run the code, this thing will go away, this will go away, and you can see the error, right? Alright, that's what I had to tell you today, and I hope that you have learned something out of it. If so, please subscribe to my channel. I'm just getting started up, and also click on the bell icon as well to get the latest updates. See you soon.